Well, I do want to welcome everybody to this Bachelor's of Business Administration webinar. My name is Craig Gomolka. I work with all of our transfer students here at the University of Michigan-Flint, transferring for the business program. So why don't we get started? And like I said earlier, if you've got questions, please let me know what questions they are, and I'm more than happy to answer anything that you have. So we'll start off by talking about the University of Michigan itself. So 3 campuses within the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor being the flagship of the university, Dearborn, and then our Flint campus. Now, when we look specifically at our business programs throughout the 3 campuses, you're going to see slight differences in the programs. You know, the admission standards are going to be different. Certainly the costs are going to be different. The structures of our programs are going to be different as well, too. But no matter what U of M campus you attend, you're going to get that great University of Michigan education. Degrees and diplomas are all going to be issued by the University of Michigan. So that's why students really like our Flint campus. You know, it's our great cost. It's that University of Michigan education. It's certainly that University of Michigan degree that they can put on their wall. When looking at accreditation, students aren't quite sure, what to make of accreditation and why it's important to them. When you look at U of M accreditation, all the business schools are accredited by AACSB International. It's the top accrediting body for business schools around the world. So what does that tell you as a student, and why do you really care about it? So first off, it tells our students that all our full-time faculty have their PhDs. They're some of the very best professors out there in the whole world. And those professors do so much research, and then they do publications typically over a 3 to 5 year period. So that tells you as a student that your professors are staying on top of current topics and trends in their particular discipline, whether that's accounting or finance or supply chain, international business. They're seeing where trends are today, where trends are heading in the future. So they can have a lot of those great classroom discussions, again, whether that's online or on campus, around topics that they're researching, topics that their colleagues at other schools are researching as well, too. So, and if you're ever looking at master's programs, having an AACSB accredited undergraduate degree certainly boosts your chances of getting into a highly ranked MBA program or other master's program of business. Just earlier this year, we had our Bachelor's of Business Administration degree ranked the #1 online business program in the state of Michigan. So we're pretty proud of that. We're also top 20 in the country as well, too, for our online business program. So certainly something for us to be very proud of. Something that we just rolled out, I would say within the last month, is our new Go Blue guarantee. So it basically covers tuition for up to 8 semesters for incoming freshmen and 4 semesters for transfer students. Requirements: you have to be full-time in terms of in school, you have to be an in-state resident, and then family income over 65,000, and then 50,000 in terms of assets, and all that's determined through our financial aid office. You also need at least a 3.5 GPA. So if you meet some of these requirements, we're basically covering tuition for, again, pretty much 4 years for a incoming freshman, and then 2 years for a transfer student. So certainly that is something to be well aware of as you're applying to the university. So let's talk about some of the degree requirements for our business degree. We do require 120 credit hours to be completed for the degree. A minimum of 30 have to be completed at the University of Michigan-Flint to earn that degree. And those last 30 all have to be with us. So within your last 30, you have to make sure that you do them all here at this university, not transferring classes in. And certainly those can be online, on campus mix. It doesn't matter how you complete those last 30 credits, but they all have to be here at the university. And then certainly meeting all the degree requirements set forth by the BBA program. So we'll go over these here in a second. But the nice thing is you only need 30 credit hours if you have the right classes. Certainly that makes it a little bit difficult sometimes because students transferring a lot of different courses, from maybe multiple schools. So you have to meet all these particular degree requirements. So let's talk about transferring and some recommendations and some requirements that we do have here at the university first. So for transfer students, you need a minimum of a 2.0 GPA with at least 24 credits. If you come in with less than that, we go back to your high school transcripts. We will only transfer courses with a C or better. And again, you must satisfy all the requirements set forth by our business program. Some recommendations that I do have for students, if you can transfer with more than 25 credits, we waive our first year experience. Basically, it's an incoming freshman course. It makes it easier for a lot of students just to waive that course. So coming in with 25 credits is always a good thing. I always recommend if you can take your math and your science early on before you get here. Sometimes the sciences and the maths are easier to do, let's say at a local community college, rather than doing them online with us. If that's your goal, is to complete something online, we notice that it's just a little bit easier sometimes. Not to say that you can't do it, but those are just recommendations that I've seen, doing this over these years, is if you can get those done sooner rather than later, puts you in a better situation. And certainly we've got our transfer equivalency database, which will kind of show you from all sorts of different schools how your classes will transfer in. So let's look at the actual degree requirements. I mentioned that there's 120 credit hours, which is approximately about 40 courses that you're going to need to complete in the Bachelor of Business Administration degree. I didn't list every single class out here, but these are kind of the different categories that we're going to go through as you kind of go from a freshman or transfer student all the way to your senior year. So most students will start off with their pre-business classes and their general education. Your pre-business classes will, encompass your math. So we require college algebra and statistics. You have your 2 English courses. You'll have economics, macro and micro econ. There's a business communications class in there. Certainly intro to business. There's an applications course which covers spreadsheets and databases and Word. We've got 2 accounting courses. We've got business law. Those are kind of your 1 and 200 level business courses. And as you're taking those, you'll mix in some of your general education as well too. So general education will include, social sciences, humanities, global studies, fine arts. I mentioned the science course that you'll need as well too. So there's 8 of those courses, and some of those courses will be able to be counted from things that you've done in the pre-business area. We've got an area called current business topics. These are 2 courses that are relevant to today's business world. So for example, this year we'll be offering analytics in business and artificial intelligence in business for these current topics. And next year we'll probably have a couple of different courses for students to take. As students move through their pre-business and gen eds and everything, you may need some additional courses to cover the 120 credit hours. For example, if most students just did the bare minimum requirements, they probably end up with maybe 112 to 115 credits. So that's where some of these elective courses may come in. You may need 2, 3, 4, 5 elective courses to actually reach that threshold of 120 credit hours. If you transfer courses in, maybe they don't fit perfectly into our program. That's okay, because that's where we'll put these elective courses if you happen to transfer in. If you start with us as a freshman, there may be some great courses that you want to take, and you can actually develop, let's say, a minor in communications, or maybe you're interested in psychology and you want to do basically a minor in that. So we would utilize those elective courses to kind of get you a minor in a different discipline. So a lot of different things that we can do with the elective courses. As you move into your junior and senior year, you'll kind of get into your core business and then your major courses. Your core business will be really kind of what it says. It's the core of your business program. So you'll move into courses like management science, finance, marketing, supply chain management, international business, organizational behavior, strategy. There's a lot of great courses within that core business area. And then while you're starting to take those core business classes, you'll pick one of our 8 different majors that we have. The major is your specialization within one of these 8 disciplines. So all the majors are 6 courses or 18 credits, and you have your choice of accounting, entrepreneurship, finance, general business, international business, marketing, organizational behavior and human resource management, and then operations and supply chain management. Right now, operations and supply chain is the only one that we can't say is officially 100% online, but I suspect by the end of this academic year, we'll have put that final course in supply chain management online. So I expect that to be online by the end of the year. But when you look at all these courses, again, you're going to end up with approximately 40 classes and 120 credit hours once you complete these requirements. And we've got a lot of different ways we offer classes online. We do have some daytime and evening classes this year in our Bachelor's of Business program. There's not a lot still due to COVID. I think we've got 8 to 10 on-campus classes that we're going through this fall, but certainly a majority of those are still going to be online due to COVID. We've got mixed mode classes where you do part of it online and then you come to campus, let's say once a month. So there's a great blending of classes that we do in our undergrad program. And I do want to be clear that not every single class is offered every single semester. So if you're looking, let's say, for an exclusively 100% online program, you definitely want to work with your advisor so they can kind of help you work through the schedule of when the online classes are offered versus something that's going to be daytime or evening on campus in a particular semester. So certainly you can do this program 100% online, but we just got to make sure that we set a schedule that is going to kind of meet your needs. Students are always interested in career outcomes. So I always like to put together this slide for students because, sometimes when you look at some of the different majors, you're not quite sure exactly what you can do with those particular majors. So for example, what can I actually do, with an international business major? So there's a lot of different things that students can do in international business. A lot of students want to do travel or they want to work for a multinational company. And these are just some of the positions that you can see people with international business degrees getting into, same with HR and supply chain. So there's a lot of different things that students can do with the multiple majors that we do offer as specializations within our business program. Students will always ask, why do I want to do a business degree? Maybe why do I want to go to the University of Michigan-Flint? And I always tell students, business is everywhere. No matter what type of industry that you're looking at or you get into, everything needs to run as a business, whether that's sports and entertainment or healthcare or government, technology, nonprofits. Everybody needs to generate revenue for their organizations. Maybe some people like nonprofits want to utilize that revenue for the betterment of others. Other people, like in sports and entertainment, certainly they want to generate revenue for profit for themselves. So everybody needs people in business, whether that's marketing, supply chain, finance, to make sure that everything runs very smoothly in terms of the business that they're running, and certainly within a lot of different industries. So like I said, you'll see business everywhere, no matter what industry you go into. So it's a great option in terms of a degree to get because it's very generalized, but you still get that great discipline where you can really focus in on a particular area of business. And then students will ask, why the University of Michigan-Flint? Certainly the great University of Michigan education speaks for itself. Our top-notch accreditation, tuition is certainly very reasonable at the University of Michigan-Flint. Our great professors are terrific. And then, everything that we have that revolves around being involved in business. And what I mean by that is really everything that's outside the classroom. Certainly, we've got great classes, and again, University of Michigan education speaks for itself, but everything that we can support our students with outside the classroom. So internships, career services, all the different workshops that we provide to make sure that students are well prepared for their careers as they leave this university. We offer great study abroad programs. Obviously, we haven't done one in a couple years, but our last one was to Japan. We've been to China. We've been to India. There's some great opportunities for students to study abroad, and there's some great scholarships in there as well, too. Exchange programs. I think we've got 13 partners across the world, whether that's Europe or Asia. We're looking to break into South America, where you can do it in an exchange for an entire semester where you can take classes there. Some of them have internships associated with them as well, too. So great opportunities to really utilize a language and study abroad for an entire semester. We've got great entrepreneurship competitions. So if that's something that you may be interested in, you don't necessarily have to be in an entrepreneurship major. These are open to all students across campus. So let's say you're in psychology or healthcare. We've got great entrepreneurs, not only in the business school, but certainly around campus as well, too. So these competitions offer some great scholarship opportunities for students as well. And then our different student organizations. I mentioned the great majors that we have here. So for each of these majors, we've got a student organization affiliated with it. So accounting has got its own organization where they bring in speakers from the accounting world. They do different workshops. They do different trips. Actually, I'm going to bring in Alexis up here to kind of talk about, she's a recent graduate of ours, and she was president of our SHRM organization, which is our HR organization, and they did some great things as well too. So Alexis, why don't you tell them about SHRM and just about student orgs in general?
Yeah, so my name is Alexis Menard. I graduated in April 2021 with my BBA in Organizational Behavior and Human Resource Management and Marketing with a minor in Communications. So during my time as a student, I was the president of SHRM, which is the Society for Human Resource Management. If you're in the HR world or know anything about HR, SHRM means a lot in the certifications and credentials you can get, and it'll help you as you move along in the your HR world. So with SHRM, everybody here is going to be working, in an office with other people and a culture. So having in my org, we would bring in speakers, and it's applicable to everyone, because if you're going to be a manager, work with coworkers, it's, essential topics that you need to know. So like one of the things that we did back last fall is that when everybody was still working remotely, we did a topic on like work-life balance with one of our professors. We did another one on the unconscious bias in the workplace. So a lot of these major topics, that are applicable to everyone, and a lot of our student organizations focus on that. They want to make it so everybody can, attend their meetings or when they have speakers come in.
Alexis, why don't you talk about kind of our entrepreneurship, and I believe finance as well too, because they got to travel to some different conferences, correct?
Yes, yeah. So the Entrepreneur Society, they are part of a global chapter, and they went to Florida in the fall of 2019, and they do like a case competition, get to network with some of the other student chapters, and they actually won Global Chapter of the Year out of 800 chapters. So our little Flint chapter won Global Chapter of the Year. So that was phenomenal that they came back with that award. And then the Financial Management Association, they went to New York the week before everything shut down for COVID. And they participated in like a financial case competition, and they took third there. So their case was on Peloton and how, their IPO and everything like that. So our students get phenomenal opportunities. I know our NABA, National Association for Black Accountants, they went to all of their chapter meetings. So they went to the one in Las Vegas, another one in St. Louis. So we try to, give students like me opportunities to go and travel and, network. Networking is a huge, huge thing in your undergrad, to be able to connect with people.
And certainly these trips are basically paid for by the school, which is really nice. So it does give students the opportunity to travel.
Yes, I don't want to mention that part, but yes, the school management does financially help out with that, as well as there's other, scholarships and grants that students can apply for.
Like I said, very similar to our study abroad program, where we do have a lot of scholarships. There is some cost involved to the student, but we do have a lot of scholarships. And certainly we do try to support our students every way possible, and not only, like I said, their education, but everything involving things outside, like those exchange programs, study abroad, and our student organizations. So let's talk about maybe some of our online courses. Students tend to gravitate towards our online courses, and we use platforms like Blackboard and Canvas for our online learning. All your syllabi and class assignments will be posted to one of these two platforms. You'll have your deadlines there. They offer great meeting rooms for group work. All your tests and quizzes will be within Blackboard as well too. So we don't proctor tests and quizzes. They'll be open book, open note, but certainly they will be timed. So, you'll have 45 minutes, an hour and a half. But, professors typically will give you, maybe 3 or 4 days to kind of get that test or quiz in. And then different work that you'll be doing, independent reading, textbooks, supplemental materials, different case studies. I've mentioned group work a couple times. He'll have group work, and I would say almost every class you have. Am I right on that one, Alexis? I know you pretty much had group work in pretty much every class.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a few classes where you don't, but I know our professors, they really strive, to be able to work in any group. So you're kind of prepared for any situation. But most of the group projects, that'll be like the major thing for the course. You do your homework, other assignments, test, and then the other half of the course will just be this group project, typically, depending on the class.
It's certainly research papers, homework sets, let's say accounting, statistics will lend itself more to homework, and certainly discussion boards as well too. Every professor does things a little bit differently. They don't necessarily do all of these things, but this is kind of the generalized type of work that you'll be doing in our program as you move through all of your different classes. Different online support and certainly student support, whether you're online or on campus. Academic advising is certainly great. We try to make ourselves accessible to every student, whether it's phone or virtual in person. We do have our accessibility services if you need that type of support. And I encourage you, if you do need that type of support, you definitely want to reach out to them and make sure you get those different accommodations. Our Blackboard and ITS online support help desk is there 24 hours to help you out. The bookstore is online if you're interested. So you can come to campus or do that online. Internships and career services. Antonio's like an advisor, so he's available, phone, in person, virtual. So I encourage you, as you come into the university, definitely meet with Antonio and talk about maybe some of your career goals, what you're thinking about. Or even if you're not sure, maybe he can give you some assessments to help you figure out exactly what it is that you may be interested in. So we definitely want to meet with Antonio as early as possible. Whether you're transferring in or coming in as a freshman, we want you to make sure that we start on those internships and career services and all the workshops that we have early on in your academic career. The library is great. It's got all sorts of great databases for research, and we pull together all 3 campuses so students have access to all the great U of M databases. Tutoring service, we certainly support our students in every way possible through tutoring. And then the Writing Center. The Writing Center is tremendous, and I'm going to let Alexis talk about the Writing Center because she's utilized the Writing Center quite a bit as she's moved through her academic career.
Yeah, so the Writing Center is probably my favorite and most used university resource, just because they're there to help you and help your papers. Just at any stage, I went for my undergrad for 5 years. Like for 5 years, I went to them, and it's just, they're not judgmental. They're just there to help you and read your paper, and they make it better. And another thing that I love the Writing Center for is that they offer scholarship essay workshops, and then they'll also help you with your scholarship essay, because you have to write why you want a scholarship in 500 words. That is crazy. So they help you cut and get it perfect. So I went to them for so much help, and they're all trained student staff members, and totally recommend, no matter where you are in your curriculum, to go to the Writing Center. Just have that peace of mind. And I want to touch back on Antonio, because Antonio's just great. He is, some people call him the face of SOM. He hosts a ton of events for professional development. So he either brings in employers, they do a presentation, or you can network with employers. He does, how to, work a job fair. So how do you network at a job fair, how to set up your LinkedIn account, so much that Antonio does. So he is always on top of it and just knows his stuff. Just last week, I was emailing a question about a job interview, and I'm like, what should I do for a remote job interview? And he just, sat down with me for 10 minutes over Zoom and just told me. And he's just always there to support students. So he's been my favorite person to work with the most, besides Craig. But yeah,
I was going to say there we go. Besides me, but certainly no, Antonio is absolutely fantastic. He supports our students in every way possible, because obviously getting the degree is one step, but certainly getting that career and starting off in, that situation after graduation is certainly important to our students as well too. And again, we're there to support our students, not only while they're here, but certainly after they graduate too, if they need any of these type of services. Financial aid, always important for students. So you can fill out your financial aid application at any time. Typically, November, December is the best time to fill it out for the upcoming academic year. We do have transfer scholarships for students. We've got a University Scholars Award for transferring in. It's a very competitive scholarship. You need at least a 3.8 GPA and at least 50 transfer credits. And as long as you're admitted by May 1, they do make their selections. Usually they award between 8 to 10 of these university scholars. It's basically a full award for in-state tuition fees for 2 years. So basically free tuition for 2 years, which is tremendous. And then the university's got lots of different scholarships you can apply for when you're an admitted student. So Alexis, I know you've gotten plenty of scholarships. Any advice to students as they're coming in, things they need to look out for in terms of applying for scholarships?
Yes. So, of course, don't procrastinate. Don't be like me and do it the week before. Typically, the scholarship application will open up around Thanksgiving and it closes on Valentine's Day. So, do it early as you can. The scholarship application is pretty easy. I think it's like 25 questions. You just click yes or no, and then you have 2 essay prompts, and that's about it. And then you like submit any additional resources. So that could be additional essays, references, that sort of stuff. So just don't procrastinate. Like I said, use the writing center because they're trained on what to, write for a scholarship essay and what people basically want to hear. So there's tons and tons of scholarships for the school management on whatever major that you're in or how far along. Not all of them are merit based. Is that the correct term? Like it's not
Yes.
about your GPA. There's lots of different scholarships to apply for within the school management and then also within the university. So I got like the India scholarship, which is for a student that supports the community. There's a faculty and staff recommendation scholarship. So you just have a faculty or staff member write you like a scholarship recommendation and you submit that. So there's tons and tons of them out there. You just got to go to the financial aid website and just see which ones that you can apply for.
And the scholarship application is pretty nice because it'll make sure that it applies to you for all the ones that you're eligible for as well too, so you don't miss out on anything. And like I said, there's a wide range of when the scholarship applications are due, so make sure you pay attention to that and jump on it early, and then make sure you apply as many times as you can throughout your academic career. Just because you don't get something your first year doesn't mean you won't get something your second year. Tuition, so there's upper division and lower division tuition. There's not much difference. So right now tuition is $491.50 per credit hour. If you're an out-of-state student and doing the online program, it's about 10% more. So it's about $548 per credit hour. We do have a premium tuition rate on business classes, which is $72. And then if you ever take more than 12 credit hours, so that's typically 4 business classes. If you take that 5th class to really become a full-time student, tuition drops tremendously. It's only $107 per credit hour. And that's just to encourage students to make sure that they stay on track if they want to graduate within 4 years. So 10 classes per year, 5 fall, 5 winter, if that's your goal. So just to help students maintain that 4-year pace if you're coming in as a freshman. And then we do have a registration assessment every semester, which is $227. Deadlines for students to apply. So we go right up until the first day of classes. I certainly don't recommend applying on that first day of class. Certainly if you're interested in starting in the fall, you definitely want to get something in ASAP. Otherwise, our next semester is going to be our January start, which I believe is going to be January 5th. And again, you can apply early, but I believe the deadline is going to be right at the end of December there. So I would encourage you, it's a free application. Get your application in early. Get admitted early because we start registration. Obviously, we start registration for fall back in March, and then our winter semester is going to start registration probably at the beginning of November. So if you get admitted before November and you're looking to start in winter, you can certainly do that. If you're looking as an incoming freshman to start next fall, you can certainly start that application as soon as possible, and then obviously send over your high school transcript, and we'll get you admitted soon. And then obviously again, getting registered after March would be outstanding because then you'll have the classes that you're interested in right in place and without any issues. Applications are free here at the university, a couple of different websites for transfer students, or if you just want to jump straight to the online application, you could do that with umflint.edu/apply. For transfer students, all you have to do is search official transcripts. If you attended 2 or 3 different institutions, make sure you send all of those. Most schools are using the National Clearinghouse or Parchment to send transcripts over, and it's all electronic, so you just have to search for those, and you can select University of Michigan-Flint undergrad office, and then we'll get those transcripts. If you have questions about the actual application or something within your application, the admissions office email is here. And certainly if you do need to mail anything in for some reason, most students don't, but if you do, here is their address for mailing something in as well too. So the application's pretty easy. Fill it out, send in transcripts, whether those are schools or even those are your high school transcripts, and or SAT or ACT scores as well too. And that's pretty much a summary of our Bachelor's of Business Administration degree. Here's all of my contact information. Certainly, if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer them anytime. But I do want to open it up for questions now that we've finished this presentation.